Okay, so now we're going to be looking at invention. Okay, so invention, you'll notice right here where things say type 1. Okay, if we go to show info, it will come, the outcome of this industrial process will be a type 1 crystal. Okay, if we were to go here and say info and then see variations, we will actually see type 2s. And of course, it shows you all the different variations. How do we get those variations? Okay, well, you'll see right here in this window, we'll start off with a blank. So this would be to manufacture it. If we click on this window here, this will be invention. If you don't know what this window is, I recommend that you look at the video for how to make blueprint copies. That will explain where the industrial window is. So invention will bring up this window. So right here, you'll see your output. There's lots of information here. You'll see the percent chance of getting a type 2. Okay. You'll also see the output. You'll also notice this is a fully researched blueprint copy. However, you don't get a fully researched type 2. That is because type 2 invention, tier 2 invention, does not transfer over the research. Okay, in order to change this, you have to add a modifier. Okay, and we'll get into that here in a minute. So you notice that we have 500 runs. We can put in here how many we want to do. So for instance, we want to do 10. Okay, you'll notice it has changed the duration. Okay, and the cost has gone up. I can show you real quick again. The duration goes back down. Okay. And then right here, this is your input materials. Okay, so in order to invent, you're going to need data core, high energy physics, and data core laser physics. This is specific to this one. I will show you if we were to go and put in a current router, right here, high energy physics, quantum physics. So for each different one, you could end up with totally different data cores necessary. Okay, if we were to go to medium shield extender, okay, you'll notice here it's in yellow. I don't have access to either of those. Okay, but that is not true because I switched the input materials to research, and those data cores are in research, so it went to blue. So here we have hydromagnetic physics and quantum physics. That will give us a tier 2 version here with a 40% chance. So let's try this out. So we have modifiers here. An accelerator, you'll notice it goes up slightly to 48 and increased our material efficiency and time efficiency. Augmentation decryptor lowered to 24%. Okay, 0% material and time efficiency. Okay, and you'll notice there's some descriptions here. Optimization, we get 36%. Parity decryptor. Now you'll notice here is now a 60% chance. You'll see up in this window here, right here, optional decryptor and with skills and implants. So now we have a 60% chance of producing a type 2 with a 3% and 2% efficiencies. And let's see here, process will give us a 44. So let's just find the one here, if we have one that can get us a little bit better optimization. Looks like our parity is going to be our best one. I'm not really too worried about the percentages when I'm doing invention. I'd rather have successes because you're going to be putting these data cores in and getting out a copy as a tier 2, but only at this rate. So say for instance you had a 20% efficiency. Out of 10, you're going to expect around 2 copies. Okay, so at 60%, if I do 10 of these, okay, I can expect to get 6, around 6. You might get 5, you might get 7. It kind of just changes. You'll notice here that when I put in 10, we became orange or red, however you want to see that. And it's because it's saying we only have 2 in our research division to pull from. So if we look around, it looks like we don't have a whole lot. So we probably need to buy some. So with that, I think I'll just change it to none. And we will just run the copies at 40%. So we can expect to get around 4 copies of this. It's going to take 1 day, 3 hours, and 41 minutes. So it's kind of a long process, but this is how you invent things, okay? Now, with some things, it can actually be multiple items. So let's find, I know one of these would be like the strip miners. Let's see if we have any strip miners left. I just invented a bunch. Here we go. And there are 50 runs left on this. Okay, so let's take this off. All right, now right here, you'll notice when I hovered over, instantly it popped up 2 different options, okay? I can either go and make deep core and try to invent deep core strip miner 2s, or invent modulated strip miner 2s. So a lot of items will have this option, okay? You just got to float over here and make sure that you're on the right option, okay? I know some people have been confused by, for instance, micro warp drives, shield extenders. You'll see this only pops out a shield extender 2. Here's a large EM. They're pretty straightforward. I don't know if we have any right now available. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. But as you can see, like from the strip miners, there can be multiple options. I know some people have asked, for instance, on if we look at our Doctrine fits. Let's go to Doctrine fits. And let's go to our Osprey. Okay, so here's the Logi Osprey Mark II. All right, and you'll notice right here that it's a 50 MN YT, YTAC T8 compact micro warp drive. If we go to show information and go over to industry, you'll notice that there is no information really on that. But if we go to variations, you'll notice right here, micro warp drive 1. Okay, this is the YT compact. These are different variations of this core micro warp drive 1. Okay, so here, this micro warp drive, you'll notice now a blueprint pops up for it and how to build it. Some of these, most of these do not have blueprints. They might have blueprint copies that you get from real world drop, or the item itself is a world drop. So you have to be careful, because sometimes with these fits, they have been fitted with specialty items instead of manufacturable items. The best thing to do in this is basically to either try to build the tier 1 or just the tier 2, because as you can see, if I go here to industry, there is no blueprint for a YTAC T8 compact micro warp. Doesn't exist. Invention, sometimes you can invent from the blueprint, from the regular blueprint. If we go here, let's go to facilities. Now, as you can see, I went to all facilities instead of I was looking at just use shuttles, because that's where we can do invention right now. But if I go to all, I may not be able to do it where it's at, but I can see what's necessary for it, and I can see what to output. And right here, see, it's only an afterburner 2 that's going to let me do. I don't see any 50s that we have. Oh, there's a 50. Can we produce anything else? Nope, that's the only thing it's going to let us do is either do a tier 2 or nothing else. Oops. Yep, that's it. So you can't invent it. You can't make them. There's no blueprints. You might get blueprint copies from NPCs, things like that, but we can't make those things. So you have to just kind of think on the fly when you're dealing with the alliance doctrines. If we were to go, let's clear this out. Let's look up some more alliance doctrines. So just so you can get an idea, here's a harpy, right? And here's an initiated compact warp drive. Show info, go to industry. You'll notice there's no blueprint. Variations. There's a warp 1 and a warp 2. Okay, you can produce these, okay? And that's pretty much it. This and this. These are all considered tier 1, but we can only make this and this. So you have to just kind of get, creative. Instead of getting them there initiated, you might just have to build just a tier 1 version. And so you make a warp scrambler 1. That's just going to be how things are until we start, until if they want to remake the fit or not. So it just depends on what we're doing. Some of these things, like a small F9, again, you go to show info, go to industry, there is no blueprint. You cannot make this. So you can either make the small extender or the tier 2 version. You can't make these two right here. They're most likely world rule drops. I haven't seen any BPCs drop or come from NPCs, but I know that some items have, and I'm not going to go to an extensive list to figure out which is which. This is kind of how I build. I will go look at a fit. I will say, okay, they want frigates, right? So they want slashers because they need tackles. I'll go to the slasher, I'll look, and I'll be like, okay, well, that's a tier 1. Okay, that's real easy. Tier 1, build that. So here's more tier 1s. So I just know I'm going to go like this. I'm going to say, okay, I need a warp scrambler 1 and show info and warp disruptor 1. So I'm going to build warp scrambler 1 and warp disruptor 1. I'm not going to go and try and get faint scoped. I'm going to build a 5MN, and that's it. And you might want to tell whoever's put the order in, saying, hey, I can get this shipped up from Jita, and I'm going to charge you not just for the shipping, but I'm going to charge you extra for my time, or I can build you the tier 1 or tier 2 version, whichever you'd want. These rigs are usually pretty straightforward. That's the one thing I do like about rigs. You don't have to worry too much about them getting crazy. And so you can just build the tier 1 version. Done. So that's just the thing to keep an eye out on. If you see these ones with interesting names, you come in here and you see that it's in a tier 1, you go to the industry and see that there's no blueprint. That means that you're going to have to build this or get it shipped in. So just keep an eye on those things. If you have any questions, please let me know in the questions channel. But that's pretty much invention and how to figure out how to build or get to the point where you can invent things for tier 1 versions or tier 2 versions from the tier 1s. Again, you're going to need data cores, a blueprint copy to work from, a facility that does it. Right here, Raven's Nest does not do invention. You have to go to Sonya's U shuttle. And then any modifiers, which can help to increase your chances. So that's pretty much invention in a nutshell. That's about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up on Discord.